Welcome back to Open Line. We are here talking about the Music Modernization Act. Todd, we have you on the phone right now. Let's get to it. Talk with these guys from NSAI right here. Todd, you're on.
Yes, how y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
Okay. Yeah, I want to ask a couple of questions about Spotify and BMI. If you're a songwriter, any kind of way, how do you get in touch with them to check on your royalties?
Well, first of all, you have to join BMI or ASCAP or CSAC or GMR. You have to join one of those four. You get in touch with them a number of ways. You can email them, bmi.com in that particular instance. The phone call, they got a fabulous office on Music Row.
You can call and just ask to speak to a writer representative.
But you've got to join them
BMI
first for them to represent you. I don't know what the question was about Spotify. They would collect your Spotify royalties and then pay you those.
So do you have a song on Spotify, Todd?
Todd,
That's a friend of mine was a songwriter, but he hasn't received any royalties or nothing.
Well, look, you can have him call me tomorrow at NSAI or email me. But just because he had a song on Spotify, let me say two things. If there's minimal spins, he may not get paid. Because you could probably have a few thousand spins and not even make a penny. And I think they've got a minimum royalty distribution, which they should. I think if you earn under a few cents, they just don't even send you the check.
Right.
And then he may not have joined BMI, so he would have to collect it himself. So there's a lot of mitigating circumstances. He would have to have, when we first started the Music Modernization Act, and it's better now, a little bit, we had 5 writers in DC for an event 5 years ago before the House Judiciary Committee to make our point. You may not know them, but you knew the songs. Our then President Lee Miller, You're Gonna Miss This, Desmond Child, Living on a Prayer that he wrote for Bon Jovi, Linda Perry that wrote Beautiful for Christina Aguilera. They played these 5 songs. These were all co-writes. They all had publishers, so they each owned 25% of the song. They each had 35 million spins. They each made $185. That's why we have to change this law. And look, I don't want to villainize the streaming services because they've agreed to pay us more, and they've agreed to pay over time hundreds of millions of dollars in cost for us to license the songs for them.
Yeah, and the other thing about people wanting to villainize Spotify and Pandora is that they're not choosing the rate. The government chooses the rate. Right. And so we're the victims of government overreach that's inadvertent, that they don't know. It's just an old law they didn't fix.
Let me get in the weeds on both that 1909 law for one second.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And for the consent decrees. They each do 3 terrible things. Number 1, the government's going to set his rate. That can't be good. Number 2, under a wacky standard of evidence. You can only pay him, as I said earlier, so much that they won't notice the increase in piece of sheet music. What does that even mean? That means he got a penny from 1909 till 1978, divided among all the writers and publishers. Then we got a raise to 2 cents. That's on physical product. Then, check this out. It's compulsory.
We can't say no.
If he doesn't agree with that, he must license his song for that price. You may remember Taylor Swift pulled her songs from Spotify. She's pulling the record, not the song.
Right.
Because the record labels weren't under all of this government overreach. They've got some, so these are things we change in this bill. We change as much as we can to take control and get a marketplace view of what a song ought to be worth. It's pretty simple. And who could disagree with letting the market decide what anybody ought to earn?
So at the 2016 Copyright Royalty Board, I was one of the 3 songwriter witnesses, and I snuck my guitar up behind me. And at the end of my testimony, they said, "Do you have anything else you'd like to say?" And I said, "Yeah, I would. Can I play you a song?" And the 3 judges are going there, and the lawyers are all rumbling.
They had Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Google, and Amazon all over there.
50 lawyers.
We had one law firm, 3 lawyers. They had about 50. They had a motion. They met for 15 minutes, and they forgot I was in the back of the room. I'd already testified. You're going to let him play a song. We can't tell him not to. So, long story short, okay. And
they said okay. So I grabbed my guitar and I played a verse and a chorus of a big George Strait hit called Carrying Your Love With Me. And then I picked up my phone and played the second verse and chorus by George Strait, the record, on my phone, held it up to the microphone. And I said, I'd just like to leave you all with this. Do you think the great George Strait record that I just played you is worth 10, 14, 17 times as much as the music and words that I wrote, that I played for you? And they just said, point taken. We got a big raise. I don't think that was all of it, but we got a 44% raise over 5 years.
That's great. Well, we will be right back to finish up this conversation, but for now we're going to set it to break. Stick with us, guys.